Welcome to Feature Fridays. My name is Guy Bartram. I'm Director of Product Marketing for our cloud providers in VMware, and joined today by Bhaskar and Amif. Welcome, guys. Thanks a lot for joining on the Feature Fridays. Why don't we start with some introductions? Bhaskar, do you want to go first?
Sure. Thank you, Guy, for having me in the session. My name is Bhaskar Gupta. I'm working as a Senior Technical Product Manager at VMware, and I'm working on the products like VMware Cloud Provider Lifecycle Manager and VMware Cloud Director. Happy to be a part of this session.
Thanks, Bhaskar. And Amif, welcome back.
Thanks, Guy. It's great to be back here. I'm Amit Vijayanand. I'm a Product Marketing Manager working with the Cloud Infrastructure Business Group, and happy to be a part of Feature Friday.
Thanks, Amif. And today we're discussing Cloud Provider Lifecycle Manager 1.6. Been around quite a while now, actually, Bhaskar. How many years have we been with Lifecycle Manager for cloud providers now? About 2?
More than 2 years, yes.
More than 2, yeah. So 1.6 got some new functionality we're going to talk about. Let's dive straight into it, Am. If I know you've got some slides you want to kick it off. Let's open up the deck.
A brief introduction. So here, what is Cloud Provider Lifecycle Manager? So it's basically a lifecycle manager tool which helps cloud providers to automate their deployment, upgrade, and all the other lifecycle related activities of the products, which generally is iterative and also takes in a chunk of their time. So what this basically aims is to offload them with this through automation. So this is a very cloud provider specific product. So of course, this can't be open for partners as we speak, but cloud providers, what they can do is they can fundamentally have the benefits from these and percolate those benefits to their tenants. So we started off about,
Sorry, so basically this is, so we've got Lifecycle Manager, the SDDC Lifecycle Manager with Cloud Foundation, which everyone kind of has heard of and knows, and the value from that is obviously very clear. This is the cloud provider lifecycle manager. So this is taking care of the cloud provider products that SDDC Lifecycle Manager doesn't take care of. Got it.
Yes, that's correct. And of course, through the in the following slides, we will touch upon that point. We've been getting that point of late very, very frequently. So we'll just touch upon that in a bit.
Okay.
So with as we started off a couple of years back, we started off like through an appliance, a Docker image, and then we kind of evolved. And now, right now, we have a solid set of support for these for the cloud provider specific products, which we are taking on priority. And of course, there is roadmap where we add further products as well. So right now, we have a solid UI, as most of them know. We've come through from 1 to 1.6. We have a solid UI now. We have stateful architecture, and we also have introduced a few of the upgrades to the appliance itself this time. And let's just see how and what they are. So going to the next slide, we have, so what are the advantages, right? So it fundamentally accelerates the time to market by speeding up deployments and patching of upgrades, configuration management, certification management, license management, all these things, when automated, frees up the providers of a large chunk of effort and time. So what they can do is they can focus on what really is important. They can focus on the innovative and differentiation, what their business really needs, and they can be rest assured that this would be free from human-prone errors while updating and patching and all those small misconfigurations that we all come across. And next is what it does is it is in the VMware validated design framework. So the providers can be rest assured that this comes under the framework, the best practice framework, what VMware reference architecture advises, and there would be no possible causes of deviation here, and the tool takes care on its own to help providers stick to this secure framework. So these 2 points to percolate on to the next point where it optimizes efforts by lifecycle management of certificates, licenses, passwords, and configurations. So what this does is this gives the ability for the service provider to give business agility or to give proper, very, very tight SLAs for their tenants to carry out agile business practices. So it boosts provider confidence and percolates that confidence onto the tenant convenience.
Okay, so I think there's a couple of things just to reiterate there. So time to market, obviously you're saving operational time and effort in patching and upgrading and deploying the cloud provider solutions. This also has a really nice effect in terms of minimizing misconfiguration, which is often a major cause of security issues and SLA breaches. So, looking at it from deploying a consistent stack aligned to a VMware validated solution, which has been kind of pre-tested, architected by VMware is a really good best practice. And it can help, keep your cloud uptime higher and, help you keep your SLAs with your customers. So really good results there for using this.
Yeah, on the dot. So as we just came across a few minutes back, right? So there are 3 lifecycle management solutions from VMware. The popular ones right now are the VMware Cloud Provider Lifecycle Manager, the ARIA Suite Lifecycle Manager, and we have the VCF SDDC Manager. So SDDC Manager is in VCF is exclusive to VCF. It takes care of vSAN, NSX, vCenter, and also it gives out the lifecycle, the ARIA Suite lifecycle management that is also exclusively for VCF deployed environments. So this is exclusively for VCF, and this only takes care of things which are in the bundle. So you need to have the VCF to run the SDDC Manager, which takes care of the components of VCF, right? And next is the ARIA UF Suite Lifecycle Manager. So this is, again, this comes with ARIA operations for logs and automation. So this takes care of all the lifecycle management of the products in the ARIA Suite portfolio. And this is also API connected or API linked to VCF, so that VCF becomes aware of ARIA ARIA Suite Lifecycle Manager, and it gives out the information through API to VCF. But when we're talking about Cloud Provider Lifecycle Manager, it is totally beyond any portfolios. It does not have any bundles. It does not require anything. It just is a tool where you can deploy vCloud Director, usage meter, and chargeback. 3 essential ones for the CSP stack to start with, and that's pretty straightforward and simple. So you would deploy VCD, brownfield and greenfield. You have usage meter. You have chargeback.
Yeah, and this is really important. A lot of providers aren't using Cloud Foundation or using VMware validated designs, but aren't using kind of vSAN, for example, in production. We're making a real push to get cloud providers to adopt Cloud Foundation, because now it supports things like disaggregated storage. You got shared or dedicated VCF workload domains, and that model complete with the Lifecycle Manager, the SDDC Lifecycle Manager, and the ARIA Lifecycle Manager, makes it very easy to deploy kind of highly efficient pod-like architecture that you can deploy underneath your Cloud Director instance. So, if you haven't looked at Cloud Foundation, please start looking at Cloud Foundation. It's an incredibly important part of the VMware portfolio. And I think with these lifecycle managers in context, it makes it really nice and easy to utilize them together to deliver the cloud you want.
And to add another point, it's a validated solution itself if you're using Cloud Foundation itself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So coming back to what we have in 1.6, so we have introduced a few of the enhancements. So as we know, in 1.5, we we kind of announced the automation of usage meter, and we also had the automated task rollbacks and restart and a resumption of tasks. We focused more on the operational bit of it. And in 1.6, what we've done is we've kind of focused on having the user experience enhanced and improved, with also a focus on better control, right? So in 1.6, we have improved user experience. So user experience across board, we have kind of classified each of the. We'll see it in the demo in a bit, where we have kind of segregated and and divided the tasks under various tabs like environment, data centers, and administration. So administration is the new enhancement that we have gotten, where we've introduced role-based access control and also maintenance, a switch of maintenance mode, where providers can really understand what is being worked on. So there are 5 nodes of VCD, and 2 of them are being upgraded. We do not know which ones are those. So with the maintenance mode switch that we've introduced, just by turning that on, the providers will understand that this is being worked on, this is being upgraded, or whatever. And then we've also introduced the role-based access control. So various steps in the organizations, various personnel in the organization get varied access to the Lifecycle Manager tool itself. So this is again policy driven. This can be done through a super admin, and we also have various levels of access which can be set forth by the super admin that Bhaskar will take us through in a bit. And the next big thing is the NSX ALB integration. We've introduced this feature. So this kind of completes the overall components of the VCD solution for CSPs. So NSX ALB can be integrated while deploying vCloud Director and usage meter through a Lifecycle Manager. So this is the new product support that we've introduced in 1.6, which kind of completes the overall VCD stack for the service provider. And the next is the backup and restore. So the appliance, the Lifecycle Manager appliance itself, can be backed up and restored. There are times where there might be something which goes wrong, probably a few misconfigurations which would just stall, and then there would be a requirement for troubleshooting, and then the whole of the process which would be underway would be lost. So what we've done is we've kind of introduced the backup and restore of the appliance itself, so that now users can restore the appliance and restore all the tasks from the least checkpoint that they had stopped, or the appliance records. And next is the API extensibility. So these have been a common evolution. We've been adding extended APIs and API extensions for later versions and later interoperability over our releases from 1 to 1.6. So this has been so there has been some of the evolution on the APIs, and we've added quite a bit so that users get the fullest and the latest services there are. So with these overall, with this overall context, I can just give it up to Bhaskar, who can take us through the demo and show what are the new features and how they work to help service providers benefit.
Thanks, Amit.
Sure. Thank you, Amit. Amit, if you can just take us to the next slides. Just quickly talk about the architecture and briefly touch upon the demo as well. Thank you so much, Amit, for giving us the introduction and the overview of the new features. So just a quick, recap of the architecture if you're not aware of it. So this is how the architecture looks like. So we have a GUI and an API running on the appliance. And then each operation that gets triggered creates a VCPLCM task that runs a script to interact with the products like VMware Cloud Director, usage meter, chargeback, or the infra components, what you see here, like vCenter, NSXT, and other components as well. So this is how the architecture is about VCPLCM. With that, Amit, so you can stop share. I'll try to. Okay, I hope you can see my screen here.
Yep.
Okay, great. So this is how the new UI looks like. So if you log in here, the deployment, infrastructure, task, and administrations. So it's still the same, right? And now the first thing is, for example, if you click on new deploy, and if you see, let me use a existing JSON file for the deployment of VMware Cloud Director. So this is the major change here. So earlier we used to have different pages. I mean, you have to go to tabs and different pages. Like, for example, the product information, click next. But here you can see all these details here in one page. And the best part is, for example, if you see something is missing and you provide the details, then it will show up as complete or incomplete as well, whichever is left here. And so this will clearly tell you what all you have missed, any configuration is not proper, and so on and so forth, right? And at the end, you can go to summary and see the details of the information which you provided for the deployment. And then you can hit on validate and deploy it. So these are the tabs which were there earlier, but here the best part is you can see all the information in one page. And as Amit was talking about the integration, so we have got the integration with NSX ALB. So here, so once you click on NSX ALB, I mean, here you can just select the host and the information about it. So if you already have the NSX ALB, registered as an infrastructure component, it will show up. And you can just provide the username and password and integrate that with the VMware Cloud Director or usage meter. So once you deploy these products, the NSX ALB will be integrated with that as well. So this is the new feature which we have included with the deployment as well.
And just to remember that it's all stateful, right? So it remembers what was deployed, it remembers the configurations, etc.
Absolutely. Yeah. And in order to do that, so you have to register the NSX ALB here itself. So if you see here, I've got it here. So you can just click there and just select that existing NSX ALB for the integration part of it. Now, so this is about the deployment of the product. Now, the registration, right? It's still the same. For example, if you want to register a new product, I mean, an existing brownfield environment, you can do that. And the same thing here, everything will be in one page. You can see the details, the infrastructure component, infrastructure details here. And earlier, like for example, for VMware Cloud Director, you could have, you just need to provide the key components here. For example, the endpoint address, you have to provide, and the root password, and the admin password, and the database passwords. So once you provide all those details, it will automatically pull up the information about the environment, and you don't need to provide more details, and you should be able to register it. So this is the simplest way wherein we have given an option to register a brownfield environment. We have been getting a lot of this request rather than deploying. What's the best way you can manage the existing environment? So we wanted to make sure it's seamless, and it should be fairly easy right? For you to fairly easy for you to manage it as well. Now, another thing, this is what we have also mentioned, just that it was earlier as well, that below 3 cells, we don't recommend. And you can also get to see the environment details, what you're trying to import, and you can just register accordingly. Now, the best thing which I like about this version also is tags. We have been getting a lot of requests. For example, if you see here the products, because whenever you register or you deploy products, they all come up in this page, right? And how best you can segregate or you can categorize them or manage it, right? So we can do is tags, like you create tags. For this one, just click on tag, VCD, dev, and add it here. So you can add multiple tags against the product, whether it's registered or deployed. Now here, what you can do is just search those tags and it will show up the products which are there. And as I said, you can have multiple tags. So if you don't want to go with the tags, you can just search the products based on the product type here. So how many chargeback you have got and how many usage meter and so on and so forth. So similarly, I think I just have the VMware Cloud.
Bhaskar, are those tags API queryable as well?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
You can do that as well. And not only the API queryable, I mean, when you're, for example, when you're deploying a new product, you can also tag here as well. So these are the simplest way, and you can export the configuration, the JSON file as it was there earlier if you want to reuse that. Now, these are some of the features which we have added in terms of the deployments. The infrastructure, it's still the same. We can have tags for the existing, the data center components. And this is the first thing which you have to do when you log in there. First, get this, the infrastructure or the data center components registered. Unless you do that, you won't be able to deploy any products or register as well. So you can just use a tag, and then you can view the details of the products, like what all is configured, and you can just see that. For example, this one, vCenter, you can just see what are the networks which are there as well. So you can just verify whether the NTP and the DNS details are there as well. Now, managing, you can just perform the same operations. You can download the JSON, delete or edit or register. The delete, as I said, it won't delete the product, it will just unregister. Now, these are some of the things which we have introduced. Now, I'll just come back a bit on the deployment part of it as well. So in this deployment also, when you're deploying or registering a product, you can view the details as I showed in the infrastructure components. And what I wanted to focus is this day two operations remains the same, which you could do earlier. In addition to that, what we have got the maintenance mode, which Amit was discussing. So for example, if you click on manage nodes, and let me show this one with multiple nodes. If you have manage nodes, you can just click on any one of the nodes and you can put it in maintenance mode. And so that people will be aware that there is a maintenance activity happening in that cell itself. And you can also disable the existing maintenance mode from that cell as well. And this is also possible for the primary node as well. So you can just perform those activities from here. Now, tasks. So tasks, it's still the same. We haven't made any changes as such you can just click on task. You can still view task logs. You can download the log file, and then you can troubleshoot easily using that. And now, apart from the task, administration is something, this tab wherein we have made a lot of changes. And we wanted to make sure that you don't, toggle around between the PuTTY session, SSH session of the CPLCM host or the UI. Everything we have tried to provide here as well. So troubleshooting earlier, this download logs and support bundle was available with the previous version. We are also providing this interrupt bundle. Check interrupt bundle status, and update interrupt bundle is still here, because whenever any new product is released, we also release an interrupt bundle to make it supportable with that product and interoperable with that product. So you can just download and install from here as well. Notification settings is something which we have added. So earlier it was through API. So we got a lot of requests that let's make it simpler in the UI as well. So earlier the email notification was mostly, we have to do that through API as well. But now this we have also simplified in the UI. So if you see a lot of tasks we have added, notification on task completion. So all these things, and then notification with the certificate expires, when your certificate is going to expire, when your root password is going to expire. So it will let you know, and you can configure the threshold here itself. And the best part is you can schedule a cron job that every hour, whether you want a notification to be sent every day at the midnight or Friday night at the midnight. So you can select the cron job accordingly. And then enable the notification and then configure. These are the steps which you can do. And to further simplify, we have also enabled this option here in the UI itself. So if you want that notification to be sent to your email, so you don't, for example, you have initiated a task, you don't need to wait for and refresh the screen. You can just configure the email notification. Once that task is completed, it will send you a notification that this task is completed. You can just log back in and verify. Or if it fails also, you can get to know. So you can provide the sender email address, recipient email, and the username, password, and the template itself. So all this information you can just provide, and you can just configure the email notification from here. So for example, if I click on configure, so everything has been selected, and you should get notification. So now
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So backup and restore. This is another feature which Amit was talking about. So here we are taking a backup of the VCPLCM appliance, and it is password protected, and we can also restore that. We have to make sure that if we are running 1.6 appliance, we can only take backup of the 1.6, not use 1.5 to, it will be a version mismatch. And what all it takes the backup are the, task details, what are the information it has in the inventory, like what products you have already registered, what are the products you have already deployed, everything will be backed up, and you can restore that as well. And the only thing which it doesn't back are the CPLCM, the product binaries, which we copied in the CPLCM repository, because those binaries are which we have to still, copy there. It doesn't back up those binaries. Yep. And let me show you how we can just take it. First, we have to just provide a password. So it will create a zip file, and it will, in that zip file, we are mentioning the version of the product. Which version of the CPLCM you are trying to back up. If you see here, CPLCM 1.6. So if you want to restore, you can just choose that file, backup, provide the password. That's it. Just click on restore, and it should be good. But keep in mind, all the current data of the appliance will be erased and replaced with the backup data. It's the same for the other backup tools, right? And now product binaries. Product binaries is nothing but, for example, tomorrow, if you want to deploy an older version of VCD or any other products, and you want to know whether you have those binaries copied in the CPLCM repo or not. You might or you might not, but in that way, you have to again log into the PuTTY station, go to the CPLCM host and check it. But here we are trying to make it more simplified. Whichever packages you already have in the CPLCM repo will show up here. Whichever is not, it will show up as none. So here you can understand that, okay, these are the binaries I already have. So I can go ahead with the deployment. The ones which I don't have, manually just copy it over there. So, and you can just search based on, the filters here. And last but not the least, this is, we have been getting a lot of requests from the partners and users, and they are very valid. They wanted to know whether we can have role-based access control. Right now, we only have CPLCM, VCPLCM as a user, which is a super user. They can do anything here. So if you see, we can have, we can integrate that with the Active Directory. And here you can add a new LDAP or an Active Directory as a source wherein we can import the users. So I'm sorry, I'll just show that again. So instance name you provide, the URL you can just provide as well, username, passwords, and domain search based, and then you can just configure the LDAP. And here then you can delete, you can configure, you can modify as well. And the best part is you can do a test connection using the username and password and validate the existing ones. And once you have the instance, configured here, you can go to the users, and then you can add the user. And you can also, let me show. Let me add one user here. So just select the existing tab here, CPLCM admin. Okay, so if you see, I've searched one of the users which are there, the AD, and now I'm gonna give it a role. That's read only. We'll see what all we can do. So we saw that VCPLCM admin has got read only. And if you observe here, we can modify only the users which we have imported, not the system user like VCPLC which were there earlier. This will still have a super user privileges, but we can change the password here. And similarly, we can add the groups from the AD which we have, and the group name, provide the group name and the role which we want to give it to the group. Now you might be wondering what is all about this super user, what all they can do, read only, and what are the other roles they have. So this is where you can just have a quick look at, and you can add a new role itself if you want to add a new role and provide that to the user, or you can use the existing predefined role. So read only, if you see, I mean, these are the few tasks which they can do. And let's quickly have a look at it by logging into this VCPLCM admin and see what all they can do. So this is where you can just log out and select AD, LCM admin, find this. Okay. So there are few things which you can see. You can't see the instances. You can't add any new instances. Neither you can, add any new users. So it has restricted privileges here. This is what we have been trying to provide using this. And only a few things, product binaries, or I would say backup and restore. You can't take backup or you can't restore. None of the administrative tasks. Neither you can configure or set up the notifications or check intra bundle. And that's pretty much it. But you can do deployment and so on. So now you could understand that the different roles, how we have provided, and what are the main features of it. So these are some of the key features which we have introduced. And as Amit said, we also have got the CLI. Now we will be using the API version 4, and version 1, 2, and 3 of API are still accessible, but we always recommend to use version 4 as well.
It is.
Yes, and an updated Postman collection is provided, so it will still have all these tasks. You can either use those Postman collection or you can use the GUI. But GUI, I would say we have made a lot of changes. So, I mean, this has been more simplified. If you remember, we started all the way back from 1.0, where it was just a Docker image, right?
Yeah. A lot of CLI. I do remember that.
Oh, yes. Deployment and manageability was kind of a bit tiresome, but yeah,
it's so nice to see like the product maturing, and obviously you're getting providers using this product now. So it's been a nice journey to see like the initial inception, Pascal 1.0, and like you say, everything was kind of CLI based, and now into a full kind of UI with user management, role-based access control, and really great facilities, I think, for providers, particularly those with brownfield sites, existing deployments. This is a fantastic solution just to go and point at those existing deployments and start managing them straight away. So I think every service provider that's using Cloud Director would really benefit from this solution.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is a note to all the service providers or the user. If you are using an older version of CPLCM, whether it's 1.4 or 1.5, the in-place upgrade is still available to 1.6. I mean, it's still the same. You can use the ISO for the appliance upgrade, and which is already there in the Customer Connect. And we have the script. You can just run it, and you can still upgrade to 1.6 as well.
Brilliant. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much, Pascal and MF. What's the kind of the next phase for CPLCM look like? What's kind of on the roadmap that you can kind of mention? Obviously, no commitments, but what are you looking at for your next phase?
More products for sure. More products and support. building a fuller stack, having to offload more from the service providers so that more products are supported by by the LCM. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, a few of the products are in the pipeline, and we're prioritizing right now. So let's hope.
That'd be great to see.
And to add to that, Amit said, more products for sure, and more tasks for sure as well, like day two operations. We are trying to make sure when you deploy a product, you can perform some day two operations from here as well, small day two operations like creating provided VDC, organization VDC, and so on, like that. So that it's a single tool which you can use for managing all these products. That's it.
Nice. Cool. Well, listen, guys, thank you very much for the time today. Bhaskar walking through the demo, and Amir for giving kind of the overview of CPLCM. So pleased to see how it's progressing. And obviously, if providers got questions, there's the Slack channel they can ask questions on. And otherwise, get going with the download, point it at your environment, go and do a discovery, see what it finds, and then start using it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Greg.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Goodbye.